Because devotion is not only what someone says they believe, devotion is revealed by what someone is willing to protect when it becomes dangerous. It's easy to say, I love God, when there's no risk attached to it. 1 Kings 18:4. Once when Jezebel had tried to kill all the Lord's prophets, Obadiah had 100 of them hidden in 2 caves. He put 50 prophets in each cave and supplied them with food and water. In verse 3, we're told that Obadiah was a devoted follower of the Lord. But in verse 4, we're shown the evidence of that devotion. Because devotion is not only what someone says they believe, devotion is revealed by what someone is willing to protect when it becomes dangerous. It's easy to say, I love God when there's no risk attached to it. It's easy to say, I believe when belief does not cost us comfort, reputation, safety, relationships, or position. But Obadiah's devotion was not just private affection. His devotion became action, protection, and sacrifice. Verse 4 tells us that Jezebel had tried to kill all the prophets of the Lord. That means the spiritual climate was violent. This was not just disagreement. It was not just tension. This was not just someone having a different opinion about God. Jezebel was trying to eliminate the voices of truth. And this tells us something very important. Whenever a corrupt system wants full control, it often tries to remove the voices that speak truth. Because truth is dangerous to control. Truth exposes what manipulation tries to hide. Truth interrupts what darkness wants to normalize. Truth makes people remember that God is still God even when the wickedness has power. So Jezebel was not only attacking people, she was attacking the presence of God's voice in the land. She was trying to silence the prophets. She was trying to erase the reminder that Israel still belonged to the Lord. And in the middle of that violent spiritual climate, there is Obadiah, working in the palace, but still devoted to the Lord. And verse 4 says, Obadiah had hidden 100 of them. This is where hidden courage is revealed. Obadiah did not just feel bad for the prophets. He did not just shake his head and say, this is terrible. He did not just pray for a safe distance and kept moving. He took action. He hid 100 prophets. That means Obadiah risked his own life to preserve the lives of others. And I think we need to sit with the emotional weight of that, because this was not a small thing. This was not a symbolic gesture. This was a dangerous obedience. If Jezebel found out, Obadiah could have been killed. If King Ahab discovered it, Obadiah could have lost everything: his title, position, safety, and even his own life. But there are moments when devotion to God will require us to protect what heaven has placed in our care, even when it costs us something. And Obadiah teaches us that hidden courage still counts. Some courage looks like hiding prophets in caves. Some courage looks like doing the right thing quietly, consistently, and wisely. And then the verse says, he put 50 prophets in each cave. This little detail matters. Obadiah did not hide 100 prophets in one place. He divided them into 2 groups. 50 in one cave, 50 in another cave. And this showed us that his obedience had wisdom attached to it. He was not careless, impulsive, or reckless. He was strategic. Because if one cave was discovered, guess what? The other group might still survive. And that's powerful, because sometimes we think faith means moving without thinking. But this verse teaches us something different. Faithfulness often requires planning, discernment, wisdom, and stewardship. Obadiah was brave, but he was also wise. He had courage, but he also had strategy. He cared deeply, but he did not move carelessly. And that is a word for someone. Because there are times when God will ask you to protect something, but he will also give you wisdom on how to protect it. Obadiah shows us that wisdom can be part of devotion. Planning can be part of obedience. Strategy can be spiritual. Discernment can be holy. And then the verse says, and supply them with food and water. And this part, he went beyond, because hiding them was one thing, but feeding them, that was another. Supplying them with food and water means this was not a one-time rescue. This was an ongoing care. Obadiah had to keep thinking about them. He had to keep planning for them, returning to them, finding food, finding water, and risking himself again and again. This was not a dramatic moment that happened once. This was a hidden ministry, because the crowd didn't see it. He didn't get applause for it. He was not posting about it. No one was celebrating him. But heaven saw. And I want to say that again. Heaven saw. Because not every assignment looks dramatic. Some assignments look like quietly feeding what God wants to keep alive. Some assignments look like covering someone in prayer when they cannot pray for themselves. Some assignments look like showing up for family again and again. Some assignments look like protecting your peace in a toxic environment. Some assignments look like keeping your heart soft when life has given you reason to harden. And some assignments look like building privately, healing privately, serving, obeying, staying faithful privately. And nobody claps, but God sees. And that is the beauty of Obadiah's assignment. Obadiah was preserving prophets in caves before the confrontation ever happened. Now let's talk about the emotional weight of Obadiah, because sometimes when we read the Bible, we read the action but not the pressure behind the action. Obadiah had to live in tension. He worked in the palace, but he loved the Lord. He served under Ahab, but he feared God. He was surrounded by corruption, but he was protecting prophets. That means that every day he probably carried the weight of secrecy, the weight of risk, responsibility, and wondering, will today be the day I get found out? And maybe this is why this verse speaks so deeply to people who are carrying hidden assignments, because hidden obedience can be exhausting. Quiet faithfulness can feel alone. Protecting what is sacred can feel heavy. You may be the one holding the family together. You may be the one praying in secret. You may be the one keeping the vision alive. You may be the one feeding something that no one else values yet. You may be the one preserving peace, hope, faith, truth, your children, your calling, your heart. And it may feel like no one sees the cost, but God does. This verse speaks to people who are protecting something sacred quietly. It speaks to the intercessor, the caregiver, the leader behind the scenes, the mother who keeps showing up, the friend who keeps covering others in prayer, the person who keeps serving when no one notices, the one who is not on the platform but is still preserving life, the one who does not have a microphone but it still has an assignment. And I want to remind you, hidden does not mean insignificant. Quiet does not mean powerless. Unseen does not mean unimportant. Obadiah's work mattered. Those prophets lived because he obeyed. Those prophets were preserved because he took the risk. Those voices survived because someone decided, I may not be able to stop Jezebel publicly, but I can preserve what God has placed near me privately. So today, let this verse breathe over you. You do not have to be loud to be faithful. You do not have to be seen to be significant. You do not have to be applauded to be approved by God. Some of the most powerful ministry happens in caves. Some of the most faithful people are not standing on stages. They're feeding what God wants to keep alive. They're protecting truth, preserving life, and they're obeying quietly, and heaven sees. And I'm going to repeat this again, because devotion is not only what someone says they believe. Devotion is revealed by what someone is willing to protect when it becomes dangerous. With love, seal, a verse to breathe.